Hallöchen, meine Lieben. Ich hoffe, es geht euch wunderbar. Oh, die Musik ist wieder ein bisschen laut, oder? Leiser wollte ich machen, danke. Ich hoffe, es geht euch wunderbar und ihr freut euch morgen schon auf das Wochenende oder ihr habt bereits Wochenende, das ist natürlich noch toller. Oder Urlaub, hey! In dem Sinne, hallo Sakko, hallo Boffi. Und mit dabei... Moment. Mit dabei... Hallo Kipsen und hallo Shadow.
Moin moin. Guten Tag.
Seid ihr auch gespannt, wie es weitergeht?
Oh, so ein bisschen. Hurra, Stimmung. Doch, natürlich. Wunderbar. Großart Konfetti.
Urlaub, yay. Hauptsache 4 Tage nach der Dokomi. Dann haben wir beide Urlaub. Wupp, wupp. Wobei das bei mir nicht so viel einen großen Unterschied macht. Noch. Mal gucken. Bin gespannt, wen ich dann übernächste Woche wieder Donnerstag mich einlogge. Was dann heißt in der... Ob wir eine E-Mail kriegen von wegen, ja, das mit Vollzeit und im Büro arbeiten im September hat sich erledigt. Mein Urlaub ist bald um. No, Boffi. Boah, Frettchen, wo kommt das denn her? Von dem Gift hier. Von dem Frettchen-Gift. Ist Urlaub? Ich? Ja. Das erkennt man daran, dass ich... Warte, heute ist Freitag. Heute ist Freitag. Warum sagt ihr, dass heute Donnerstag ist? Ein schönes Wochenende. Hey, hoch die Hände, Wochenende. Wie komme ich denn auf Donnerstag?
Vermutlich, weil du am Donnerstag streamen wolltest und dann doch nicht so wirklich was wurde.
Vielleicht. Ein Wiesel. Boah, Wiesel. Das klingt wie ein Pokémon.
Und wenn dieses Boff-Wiesel dann halt eingefroren ist, ist es dann Bofrost?
Oh. Pipo Leaf.
Good night, everybody.
Pipo Leaf 2. Da ist es. Jo. Ich liebe es. Ah, schön. Ich habe hier noch eine halbe Laugenecke liegen mit Butter und ich habe Müllermilch. Also das heißt, ich werde zwischendurch vielleicht noch ein bisschen was verknusen, weil ich es nicht ganz geschafft habe.
Ich habe ja auch hier noch so Nudelbecher hier schnell warm gemacht.
Gemein. Ja, ich war so,
Und ich
was
hab gar
esse ich, was
nichts,
esse ich?
toll.
Oh no.
Ich habe ja auch noch Kekse, ein paar Salzstangen, einen Apfel.
Ja, Snacks an sich habe ich hier noch ganz viele liegen. Dann mach ich
Hühnchen, eine Pizza, ein Roastbeef.
Und so, das Spiel sollte ja mal starten, ne? So, Pause. Ich habe heute so viel gegessen, aber ich will doch mehr essen.
Ja, das kenne ich, das kenne ich. Darf aber nicht.
Hm. Du musst dich nur mehr bewegen, dann kannst du so viel essen, wie du willst.
Ich wünschte, ich wäre so wie du. Essen, was will, passiert nix.
Irgendwann kriege ich die Quittung dafür. Wenn mein Metabolismus nicht mehr so gut ist. Dankeschön, Buffy. So, Hand ist wieder sauber. Weil natürlich... Warum schwitzen Laugenstangen oder Laugengebäck so? Ja.
Generell, warum schwitzt Zeugs?
Warum schwitzt Gebäck? Von was?
Es hat Angst, gegessen zu werden.
Oh no.
Deswegen schmeckt es vielleicht auch so leicht salzig.
Mm. Das Salz schwitzt. Oh. Hast du einfach die Tüte von gestern, die Papiertüte, komplett durchgesifft? Okay. Dass das Brot, dass das Gebäck ein bisschen labbriger ist, das ist ja normal. Nach einem Tag. Interessant das. Angst hat, gegessen zu werden. Fühl ich. I have drink, I have food, I have voice. Let's go. Out of the closet.
Dürfen wir das Spiel vielleicht auch mal sehen?
So, ja. Nö, ich dachte, ihr macht das so nach Gefühl.
So, ja gut, dann sprechen wir halt ein bisschen zeitversetzt. Ist okay. Hoffentlich gibt es keine Quicktime-Events.
Schön. Deshalb habe ich früher immer alle Salzkörner abgeknibbelt, wenn ich meine Laugenbrötchen später essen wollte. Ah. Aber das Salz ist doch das Beste. Ich habe Satan einen Popel ins Gesicht geschnipst und ihn damit getötet.
Das ist schön, mein Schatz.
Binding of Isaac. Gut erzogener Junge. Was? Selfie wird... Ja, also, wird mir als Kanal empfohlen. Das ist so eine V-Streamerin. Heißt das jetzt V-Streamer?
Ja, wie Streamer, wie Tuber, irgendwie sowas.
Ja. Also es kann ja nicht VTuber sein, weil es kein YouTube ist, sondern... Ja? V-Twitcher.
Ein Witcher.
Ah. VTuber heißt es schon. Aber...
Nein, es wird alles generalisiert.
Bitcher.
Ja. Ah. Wie man immer noch so ganz leicht sieht im Discord, wenn sie die Komplettlösung versteckt.
Ich hab keine Komplettlösung versteckt.
Das würde jeder Sachen seine Komplettlösung
Es gibt
offen
doch
halten.
keine.
Are you sure about that?
Zumindest habe ich nach keiner gesucht.
Mhm. Nur weil du nicht danach gesucht hast, heißt es nicht, dass es existiert. Oder dass du eine gefunden hast. Manchmal findet man Sachen, ohne danach zu suchen.
Also ich denke, es gibt schon Komplettlösungen, aber so schlecht übersetzte von der japanischen Version noch oder von der Fanübersetzung eventuell.
Aber es gibt sie.
Ja, wahrscheinlich schon. Aber ich habe nicht danach gesucht. Ich habe keine. Ausnahmsweise.
Du musst die schlechteste Komplettlösung sein, die ich je gesehen habe.
Aber
ich bin eine.
Du hast mich gelesen. Du benutzt nicht. Mann, ich habe gerade nur mein Grafiktablet weggeschoben, damit ich mehr Platz für die Maus habe. Hätte ich eine Komplettlösung, hätte ich das letzte Mal nicht 3-4 Mal daneben gelegen.
Man kann auch so tun, als ob.
Ach.
Damit es authentisch wirkt.
Yes.
Was glaubst du, warum ich mich bei Portal so doof anstelle?
Ach, alles extra, weil du alles schon kennst.
Natürlich.
Ja. Irgendwie muss man es ja authentisch machen. Deswegen habe ich die letzten 6 Spiele nicht getan, oder was? Deswegen bin ich die letzten 6 Spiele da durchgerauscht. Weil ich offensichtlich eine Lösung genutzt habe und das auch kommuniziert habe.
Mhm. Nein, Quatsch, du bist einfach nur so gut.
Ja. Weil, naja gut, die ersten 4 kannte ich schon. 5. Aber trotzdem. Und für tatsächlich Alles Up Apollo Justice hatte ich damals nie eine Komplettlösung gebraucht. Also entweder weil die Spiele leichter geworden sind oder weil mein Englisch besser ist. Oder beides. Da hast du es auch nicht versteckt. Das sag ich ja. My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. You can smell it. And
hat das nicht
Alexander's by
ausgemacht.
himself. I let him tell it. Wait. I can't move. Oh no. Kinky. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? I didn't agree to this.
Wo ist Kasuma?
Ich denke, das ist Sherlock.
Also das ist Crimson, vermutlich.
Yes. Oder ist es Susato? Wir sehen. Wir werden sehen. Ich denke,
Ich
Kasuma.
nochmal die Charakterverteilung raus und ja, Tatsache, wenn das ist, bin ich. So you wake up now,
Ah, okay. Es ist ein russischer Sailor.
Und wer hatte den?
Der hat keinen
Das ist ein
Charakterdingens.
generischer.
Ja. You may. Anyone may. Go
We
for
had to
it.
drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. Are you a true cold-blooded man?
You... Ah... You found me then.
Yes, we played a hide and seek. You suck at this game. Da, we found you. And now we... Ich wollte gerade sagen, hier steht wirklich we play. We play. Criminal.
And now you big criminal.
How long are you hiding in the tiny wardrobe,
Sorry.
Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is,
No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Huh? Isn't that? Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Mrs. Sato! Wait, what? What did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma?
Ah, you pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in a sheep's belt.
Hallo, der Waka.
You are the killer. Jetzt sehe ich gerade vom Pokal. Hat mir aus dem Fuck. You are the killer. And do not try to make excuses.
What?
Do not warn me.
Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin. That was bolted shut from the inside. His body?
Please.
Come with me if you want to live.
Come with me if you want to leave. Now.
Ich dachte erst, das war In-Game Voices. Ah, danke schön. Nein, das ist wir. Get to the chopper.
I'll take the compliment. Do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep.
Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! No. No!
Dramatic
It's
speech.
impossible! Kazuma! It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble?
Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study?
Oh no, they were roommates.
Study. Alles klar, wissen wir Bescheid.
Oh no, why is he doing a Mia?
Ja, das hat wirklich sehr was vom ersten Ace Attorney.
It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that the Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor, and me in it. I thought I was going to die!
Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. I'll check about well. You must be even less of a man than you look.
Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body.
Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain.
Oh gosh.
But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you.
Ugh, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway.
Wow. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure.
What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady?
From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotova, you mean?
From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away.
No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association.
Ah.
It's best that only you and I know about this.
So wait, how am I going to survive 50 days in this cabin? Will you bring me food? I suppose so.
Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin.
Quick, get into the closet. Back into the closet!
I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. You gotta get in there! And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze.
Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it.
Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper?
What?
Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside.
Why don't you write it down yourself?
I can't write.
Oh, and I can't read, so we make a perfect duo. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England, together. Oh.
We leave you at the next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Boy. Or murderer.
No, I'm not a murderer and I'm not a boy.
Da, I said before, you said you admit everything about your crimes, boy.
No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend?
No one else could have done it. Admit the truth.
Sasato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Oh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Oh. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a portal window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? Well, another closed room incident. Ich meine, Conan hat die jetzt schon so gelöst. Hat alle 100 Möglichkeiten schon durch. This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge? Even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me! The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctors examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So, presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please, whatever you say, you were here in this cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far in this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at this cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. When I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. Kann Russisch?
Keine Ahnung, aber es ist halt wirklich so der Mia-Fall.
Ja.
Der Mentor oder halt Best Buddy, der uns also im ersten Fall mit rausgekloppt hat und im zweiten Fall, bumm, tot. Und hinterlässt eine blutige Nachricht. Beziehungsweise eine Tintennachricht. Ja, Mia hat ja, ich glaube, Maya, mal geschrieben gehabt.
Ja, genau, auf das Zettel da.
Genau.
Beziehungsweise Red White hat's geschrieben.
Ja.
Ach ja, gut, ja. Aber wie noch so eine Nachricht. Aber dass wir jetzt zweimal hintereinander in Mordverdacht stehen, ne?
Ja. Wer sind wir? Maya?
Wessen Vorfahren sind wir jetzt eigentlich genau? Sind wir jetzt Phoenix oder Maya? I'm not sure about that.
Both. Oh.
Unser Stammbaum ist ein Kreis.
And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. Still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we've left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why do you go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you?
I'm not telling.
Speak up, man.
It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself.
Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious.
You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that.
What am I studying at Yume University anyways? Just something, anything. I'm just a student. Who knows? Okay. Einspruch! Aman, hallo! Willkommen! Wir haben angeblich unseren besten Freund getötet. Woo! But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer.
Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there?
Well, no, definitely not.
But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then...
Then what?
Nothing. Forget it.
We'll have to be rivals! Both of us. Huh?
If you want to become a rival, you have to kill me first.
Kazuma-sama is... He was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. He wasn't undressing me. And that was unusual. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san? I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on this ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Things? Well, the thing is...
Gibt es schon Schwarzlicht?
Nein. Hoffe nicht. I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat just like you always did.
Ich glaube, nannte es Roofies.
And then I got myself into the wardrobe over there just like I always did.
Heute hast du Schrankdienst.
After that, I fell asleep. Das heißt ja auch nicht, damit man nicht nachsehen kann, was gestern Abend ablief. Was?
Wieder ein bisschen schwarz. Wenn man hier Schwarzlicht macht, sieht das ganze Zimmer aus wie ein Gemälde von Pollock.
Du hast Probleme, Mann.
So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. Verstehe ich nicht. Besser so. Ist nicht jugendfrei. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Something wrong? Oh, please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Oh.
Warst du beim ersten Fall nicht dabei?
Nein, der passiert erst in 100 Jahren.
Oder, ich meine, von diesem Spiel meine ich jetzt davor.
Achso, ich dachte den ersten Fall.
Naja.
Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here. And I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya!
Dunk.
What the? That was a Susato takedown.
Otherwise known as a yeet.
Interessant. Merkwürdig. Es gibt in den DLC-Sachen, was auch immer da, kann man sich ja auch Soundfiles anhören. Aber ich hatte halt so gedacht, dass diese Soundfiles im Spiel vorkommen, tun sie aber gar nicht. Also haben die Synchronsprecher, die einfach für die Einrufe und für die Zwischensequenzen gesprochen haben, das dann auch einfach so mit aufgenommen. Das wird nicht mit einbezogen? Interessant. What? What martial art form is that?
Ich schlag dir auf die Fresse, bis du stirbst, Kampfstil.
Sehr subtile Kampfkunst.
I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes. Your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. Liegt der auf dem Tisch oder warum ist der Kopf über auf Hüfthöhe? Ja, vielleicht. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves that I'm not guilty of this awful crime. The paper seal.
Vor allem, wie sie schon selber sagte, vor ein paar Wochen, wo er halt selber als Verdächtiger vor allem Mord da stand und sich selbst rausgehauen hat. Wer würde dann ein paar Wochen später dann nochmal versuchen, jemanden umzubringen?
Ja, vielleicht hat er sehr erfolgreich gelogen. Und die haben ihm einfach geglaubt. Vielleicht war er ja wirklich der Mörder. Und er hat einfach nur das Gericht überzeugt.
Paper seal. Kazama would stick this over the door of the wardrobe for me. It says keep out in Japanese, though I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. Akeru na. Vielleicht hättet ihr es auf Englisch wenigstens schreiben sollen, ihr klugen Menschen, die ja Englisch sprechen könnt. Das wäre vielleicht eventuell ist möglich gewesen.
Nah, too easy.
Die Schwerkraft ist leicht verstellt. Vor allen Dingen, sie haben 3D-Modelle, man hätte es anständig machen können. Take that.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazama always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Warum habt ihr euch nicht das Bett geteilt? Was ist los? Warum hat der Junge einfach 2 Wochen im Schrank verbracht?
Das ist einfach eine Metapher.
Vielleicht musste er sich den Platz verdienen? Oder so? Keine Ahnung.
Ja, Rionus gesagt immer yes.
Er ist doch neu im Geschäft.
Yes, ist noch kein Anwalt. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. No. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. What if I were truly the culprit? I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Okay? Okay? Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san, I think. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up?
My arms are broken and I don't know why my chest is smoking.
Well, in the light of that evidence. Warum liegt der Heft doch? Damit wir ihr Gesicht sehen können und sie sich nicht vorbeugen muss. Nachher gibt's noch Wardrobe Malfunction und wir liegen unter ihrem Rock. Kimono.
Bautige Baubau.
Haben die Charaktermodelle keine Beine? Doch. Eigentlich schon. I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? No. I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What did she think I am? A magician? Max Galactica?
Just look at this boy. He's stupid.
For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright. Let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. Okay. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. The first Avenger. Oh. Ooh. Soll ich nochmal mit dir reden? Nein. Warum? Warte. Moment. Es ist ein Phoenix 2 Spiel. Hm. Oh, schade. Schade. Er sagt nicht mal was Besonderes dazu. Susato-san, about this. I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. But we don't have time to waste on anything else. We must find clues. She looks serious. Really, quite deadly serious. Okay, jetzt zeige ich halt nicht meinen University Collar Pin. Gut. Let's get to work. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Achso. Was haben wir hier? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. Buria? Buria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
Tja, damit haben wir schon mal 2 Regeln gebrochen.
What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. I'm not a pet! Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? Hey!
Yes.
I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Nein, ich will jetzt kein Tutorial! Yeah, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I know how to pan this. Okay, yes, I just did! Did you not notice me panning? Game?
I just noticed you panicking.
I'm sure you're careful to look around using B&M, aren't you? Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. It hasn't been! The books have fallen over on the shelf, look. They've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once. I wonder if... Perhaps it was Kazama-sama's doing this morning... His morning... What? His morning sword training, do you think? And that's why I stay in the closet. I seriously doubt it. And perhaps... It was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I just said everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. No, you can't! You told me not to mess with the crime scene, so you can't either. Madame!
Oh, wow.
Du hast gerade die...
Sie hat gerade den Tatort verändert. Nein.
Judicial Assistant. Ganz tolle Arbeit.
Gott.
Regel Nummer 1, Finger weg von allem.
Siehst du nicht, dass sie stirbt?
Do not disturb the crime scene. It's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Yes, I see it says this way up in Japanese, and nobody cared to notice. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. You are not the cleverest. Rionosuke. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Ich hätte dir ein This Way Up and Fragile Sticker draufkleben sollen. Mit Pfeilen und Symbolen. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than as sister to take down. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have said whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means... what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hi-ya! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if there's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Oh, Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important?
Ich glaube, der Seemann, der hat auch schon ein bisschen Angst.
Wirklich? Okay. Dann halt nicht die Hinte. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Arderosch. Ich kann das letzte nicht lesen. Oh, Kazuma-sama, no doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? But he can't write Russian! I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. Was dachtest du denn? Das A und das E und das... Naja, P ist kein P, aber dann solltest du wenigstens erkennen.
Er hat unter den Sperzen eine Sauklaue entwickelt.
Also er sollte wenigstens auf die Idee kommen, dass es Englisch sein könnte. Oder sowas in der Richtung. Aber dass er denkt... Ja, es ist ganz hässliches Japanisch anscheinend, offensichtlich. What then? What language is it? Da steht Kleiderschrank. Ah! Pains me to admit it, but I don't know. Just ask the Russian guys. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. And what does it mean, I wonder?
Also am Ende ist es halt wirklich wie der Mia-Fall.
What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him. Would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it?
Also violett, genau wie die Tinte.
Ah, schön.
Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Sieht komplett anders aus hier. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a pet! I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean... Oh, Kazuma-sama spent his last night on his earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Oh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Wenn man die Buchstaben vorliest, steht da sogar Garderob. Okay, der erste Buchstabe ist ein G, das wusste ich nicht. Garderob. Ah, ein P. W? B. Okay, deswegen. Ja. Ja. Ja gut, mir fehlten ein paar Buchstaben, dann wäre es mir vielleicht aufgefallen. Google Lens regelt. Seigei, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always wears a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing he drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? Can't win. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this ship. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across this to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up. I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles up and down my spine. Hi. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me?
What?
I was wondering how it's going, the investigation, I mean...
Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. No, that would be the German. But it's not true, I see.
Sorry?
The criminal asking investigator for information about this crime? Very funny.
Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. Der doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. You might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all?
Was? Das ist doch Jamaikaner, was? Was? Нет, of course not. No. Fuck, jetzt hab ich durcheinander gebracht mit den ganzen Akzenten, ey. Of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you.
Did I hit a nerve? Just
Maybe.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Just for a moment here, there, he seemed a little flustered.
Der erinnert mich irgendwie an jemanden. Der hat so ein bisschen, der erinnert mich so ein bisschen an Irving Smith aus Attack on Titan.
Sag ich doch, Erwin.
My home. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. It's not Narnia behind there. Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. Because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Wie dick ist das Holz, dass du überhaupt nichts mitbekommst?
Der war bestimmt irgendwie unter Drogen oder so.
Na, das sowieso. Aber generell. Yes. It's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interests of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it would be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that.
Yeah, mostly something like that, yeah.
I suppose. Maybe that's it. The fuck? Who's that? Wasn't here a minute ago? As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be gay or European.
Same difference.
He's gay and European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I've no idea who he is and how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well... No. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's deck, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? Jo, hi! Nee, du warst gerade sportlich aktiv. Sehr schön, sehr schön. Wie... Welcome back in this case. Oder so in der Art. By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case. If you press space on people... okay. When they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. I've just talked to the Russian guy. Why are you still...
Give the people space.
Give him space. Also bei Pokémon Schwert und Schild war es wenigstens so programmiert, dass wenn ich schon vorher ein Pokémon gefangen habe, mir das Tutorial fürs Fangen nicht mehr gezeigt wurde. Capcom hat diese einfache Abfrage nicht einprogrammiert. Hallo. Excuse me? Fange gerade mit Sport an. Ach so, ich habe vor der Stunde schon gesehen, dass du... Nee, vor 2 Stunden schon gesehen, dass du Ringfit angeschmissen hast. Schreib aber nebenbei. Alles klar. Wenn ich dazu komme. Okay, gut. Excuse me. Do you have a moment?
Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation.
Maybe I should leave him alone. Oh, maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be the best. Ah!
Greetings! I hope I haven't kept...
Ah! Was?
I haven't kept you long.
Well, what exactly are you doing in Kazuma's desk just now? In, on, behind, under.
Calculating. Calculating.
Ugh.
Ah, I see. Fascinating.
Sorry? What do you see? It's like he's looking right through me.
Oh yes, everything is clear now. You are not wearing underpants. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I am not mistaken.
I am not Watson. Er zitiert einfach Sherlock Holmes. Welcher war das erste? Study in Crimson oder so?
Was?
Wie hieß denn der erste Teil? Der allererste Sherlock Holmes.
Ich habe keine Ahnung.
Ich meine, das hier ist das befleckte Band, aber...
Ich weiß irgendwas mit Hound of Baskerville irgendwie sowas.
Ja, eine Studie in Scharlachrot. Wie heißt es denn auf Englisch denn?
Scarlet Study vielleicht?
Study in Scarlet. Nicht Crimson.
Oh.
Scarlet.
Ja. Same difference.
Ja, genau. Ich wusste nur den Titel von der BBC Sherlock ersten Episode Study in Pink, aber das ist falsch. Anderes Rot. Sorry? What?
And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament.
You were looking for a roommate. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how?
How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining.
Barely an inconvenience. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary.
Ah, okay, das...
You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the ribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully.
You are the worst detective, consultant, whatever I've ever met.
Of all time.
Ach so, Ringfit lief noch. Ach so, cheaten hier. Das war's dann mit dem Spiel.
No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes.
Do I look Russian to you?
You look like you're in a rush, so yes.
Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you?
Certainly I am.
Afghanistan? Really?
Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name?
I don't see anyone like this in this cabin. Maybe that Russian sailor over there.
No.
I don't even see one person who fits the bill.
No.
Don't believe him. Oh, it's true. No, 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 no.
Oh, god damn it.
It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
Why is everyone so stupid?
What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way. Hiya!
Whoop, down you go.
Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. Get me up again. Surely. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not the Russian Revolution, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head.
Ah, but was I not right?
No!
Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not?
Yes, and you deduced that from the handcuffs. Well done. Oh yes, maybe.
Ah, there you have it, you see. What do you make of that, hmm?
You're an idiot.
Yeah. Any fortune cookie has more truth than your deductions. Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation.
Indeed, and observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right.
I don't think you introduced yourself.
Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over.
Wait, you're gonna be the greatest detective?
The inimitable Sherlock Holmes.
Wenn das der größte ist, will ich nicht den schlechtesten sehen.
So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Sholmes?
The very same. The inimitable, actual Sherlock Sholmes.
I miss Gumshoe.
Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on then? We must ask him what he seduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Hi. Oh, great detective.
Ich stell mir jedes Mal vor, dass Gumshoe dabei niesen muss.
Oh. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again?
Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Sholmes.
Oh, I see. You're German? Herr Locke, was it? Oh, good.
Jesus, you're just as awful.
Clever. Clever.
Da bin ich auch vorher letztes Mal schon drauf gekommen.
Herr Forehead?
Stimmt, er hat so ein bisschen
Er hat
Klavier-Vibes.
sehr, ja.
No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes.
Oh Gott. Ei.
You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Rand's the magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interesting articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have sent it from England especially.
Oh, you have issues, all right.
Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. You're fictionist! So you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then?
Indeed, I am.
And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective?
Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward.
Backward?
My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine.
Watson? You have a biographer? Do you?
Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
No, actually he's dead. And he's been in Japan for 3 years now. So... wait... Dr. Wilson?
I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown.
Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not.
Yes! Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form.
A science? Really?
The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data.
Right.
And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth.
And still you think I'm Russian.
As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago.
Yeah. How can you look me in the eye and claim that?
So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes.
Herlock Sholmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet?
Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious of Kazama-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open.
And I concealed myself among the number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, you know me. Ugh.
The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me.
Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Then tell me. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin door this morning?
Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me.
Yes, I understand. But what were they?
Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows.
Der Fakt ist, Buffy, eigentlich heißt der Sherlock Holmes, aber wegen dem Urheberrechtsgesetz in Amerika mussten sie ihn umbenennen.
Copyright.
Ja. Gibt eine europäische Version, würde er bei uns auch Sherlock Holmes heißen. Sherlock Holmes.
Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance.
Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian?
The writing on the floor. Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor.
Garderobe.
Garderobe. That is the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Kazama-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? No.
In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian.
Kazama was Russian, was he?
Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Guard, perhaps. Garderobe.
But why would you start with the last name then? That would be Japanese.
But in the interests of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least.
Where you found Mr. Naruto sleeping soundly.
Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer.
Why is it that I'm Russian too?
I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people.
What? Oh, school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. Because they're not. I had no idea, and I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. Have you met Gumshoe? No.
I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details.
This.
This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed.
Yes. Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Warum switcht es eigentlich zwischen Naruhodo-san und Mr. Naruhodo?
Eigentlich wollten sie die Anreden richtig machen, ne? Hieß es doch.
Oh, yes, thank you. The Russian word for wardrobe in purple ink. It would appear to have been written in the victim's final moments. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes?
What, pray?
You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that? Mr. Naruhodo-san.
Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth.
Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Oder vertue ich mich und das ist ein N? Und... Boffi!
Entweder Buffy kriegt's noch oder wir skippen das Wort einfach.
Nein, ich will das jetzt wissen.
Na gut.
Warte, ich muss Handy machen. Sicher. Ja, aber wie wird das ausgesprochen? Das dachte ich mir.
Wenn der zweite Satz schon certainly anfängt, dann
Eben.
wird's was in die Richtung sein.
Ich weiß es nicht. Toll, danke. Ja. Kohei ho. Konechno? Mal gleich. Koniecznie.
Gesundheit?
Koniecznie.
Koniecznie. Certainly, if it interests you.
Jetzt lernen wir noch Russisch hier. How many times? I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean?
Ah, the now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in?
Mm-hmm. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part?
Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai.
Das nochmal Russisch. Is it actual Russian?
Weil and Bolshevik. Oh Gott.
Ja.
Oh.
Da steht das tatsächlich cool. Naja gut, da steht jetzt Obstgarten. Revolutioner wahrscheinlich. Villain entkommt aus Russland über Shanghai. Steht da oben links.
Oh. Ja gut, okay, da steht das. I know some of these words.
Kristall, irgendwas unten steht Kristall, irgendwas mit Kristall. Sein Ziel. Ja.
War das irgendwie Crystal Tower oder so?
Ja, ja, genau. Oben. Schnubbelidu. Vielleicht war irgendwas mit Revolutioner wahrscheinlich. Revolutionist.
This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered.
In 2 Wochen unterwegs, wenn der jetzt in Shanghai? Warte mal, was für noch Gutes ist das denn, bitteschön?
Vielleicht irgendeine Strömung, die da lang geht?
Oder ist mein... Ah, nee, ist okay, ist okay.
Die Pazifikroute war doch schon bekannt. Warum fahren sie nicht nach England?
Sie fahren über...
Na gut, sie müssten jetzt an Amerika noch vorbeigemusst. Macht also doch Sinn.
Ja, sie fahren wahrscheinlich im Süden lang.
An Kapstadt vorbei wahrscheinlich.
Ja. Na gut, dann kann es sein. Wenn sie von Tokio aus 14 Tage bis nach Shanghai, das geht. Das ist, ja. Ich dachte, Shanghai liege mehr im Norden. Aber ja, es liegt im Norden von China, aber Japan ist nördlicher als das. Das vergesse ich. Na gut, Norden von China. Naja, Mitte. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. Can we just... Können wir uns auf eine Anrede einigen? Ob Japanisch oder Englisch? Dankeschön.
It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Villain Bolshevik.
No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face.
Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well.
Please.
And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more?
Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of the assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower.
Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? Gospody, Mr. Naruhodo-san. Sir. And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Because that is definitely in the West.
Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan.
I've been in Japan and I've got witnesses. Susato zum Beispiel. Where even is it anyway? Is Afghanistan this Afghanistan place?
Here, take the paper for yourself as a little memento of this great deduction.
Thank you.
I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby.
I'm the rubbish bin. An article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai.
And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well.
On the back?
Cast your eye over it, sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret.
Ja. Kein Problem, ich habe Google übersetzt. Vergiss es. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruto-san? Oh, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting.
Later.
I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. She's pretty. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Tiara für 20.000 Rubel.
I'm glad you've noticed this article.
Hello.
Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
Oh, thank you. He pops everywhere, just dismiss the shows.
It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova.
Why are Russian names so hard to remember?
It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money.
Fast ein ganzer Dollar.
Ja, genau. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves.
The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry.
Alexa, wie viel sind 20.000 Rubel in Euro? Das ist nicht viel. Na gut, 231 Euro.
Musst du noch 100, 200 Jahre zurückrechnen?
100 Jahre, ja, 100 Jahre ungefähr. Oder 130 Jahre. Klar, 200 waren sehr viel zu der Zeit.
Aber Bobby fragt auch noch, welches Jahr ist es hier? 1880 oder so?
Irgendwie so, 1880, 1910, irgendwo da dazwischen. Yes, I'm not surprised.
The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain.
Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a I'm not even going to dignify with that with a response, Naruhodo-san. An article on the back page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads: "Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai."
Ansonsten nur der Wetterbericht.
I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says.
The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, "Revolutionary Vinin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai."
Yes, you told us that before.
It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale.
That's Blackbeard. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome! Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he?
The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I don't think...
I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Right. Asogi! Kazuma-san! You drew the characters for this paper seal, didn't you, Naruhodo-san? They're such bold, vivid strokes you made. You're looking at a man who came aboard inside a trunk. Those brush strokes needed to make a statement. If they found me in that wardrobe, those Russians would have hurled me into the freezing cold ocean. I'm sure none of the crewmen would have done anything like that. Well, I'm not so sure. They would have forced you to wash dishes in the galley until you were on death's door or something like that. Wash dishes until I was on death's door? That's a lot. That's a lot of dishes.
3 Teller sind für ihn also viel.
These must be remnants of the glue you used to stick the paper seal on the wardrobe.
Yes, glue.
Ew. That's right. It was pulverized rice. Pulverized rice. Yes, I pulverized some of the rice from my evening meal, even though it broke my heart. Broke your heart? What do you mean? Remember, I'm a stowaway on this ship. All I had to eat were Kazuma's leftovers. Even a couple of grains of rice would have meant the difference between life and death. Oh my, it must have been awful for you, Naruhodo-san. But I have some glue with me, as it happens. You're welcome to use it this evening. Oh, thank you very much.
I don't think you're going to need it tonight. You have a room for yourself.
It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to just glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you?
Kazuma. Ah, yes, the victim.
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text.
London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It would upset people.
Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading.
You mean you've read it already?
It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese.
Susato, do your takedown! Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Go ahead.
Plot twist, it's fine.
Go! Take him down! Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? Please? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Hey! Life is so unfair!
Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim, it would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to the details.
Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese?
A smattering, dear boy, a smattering.
Nicht genügend.
Sayonara, bonsai, Mikado, nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed.
Aha, sehr. Für Japanisch kann ich auch.
The fuck is nado nado?
Keine Ahnung, irgendein Lautwort. Nado nado. Nado nado. Muffel muffel, peka peka. Guru guru.
But this diary is littered with complicated looking characters, of which I can read precisely none.
Wieso wie ich? Kanji. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm much obliged, my dear madam.
The final entry here in Kazama-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound?
These are very deep waters. Pray, go on.
The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Das ist 1:1 dieser Scheißfall.
A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before.
The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin.
Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been a diary Kazuma was keeping of his trip to London. According to the last entry he made before his death, he spied what appeared to be a speckled band.
So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least.
Do you have somewhere to go? Move.
As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, this seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to?
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds revel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation.
My mind rebels at stagnation. Schön. Give me problems, give me work.
So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough.
Do you think perhaps that we could go with you?
No, that would be somewhat complicated.
What? But why?
A simple glance at your wrists should reveal the answer.
Oh. These. Yeah, I forgot.
After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No?
There's no point trying to turn into a... there's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place.
Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point.
No. You just said I'm a Russian revolutionary assassin. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago.
Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really.
So, what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are.
Well, anyway, that was then and this is now.
What do you mean?
What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate.
What's wrong with you?
Everything!
Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you standing there for? Hmm? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hiya! Ah, why? Again. With the ouch and the... After Kazama-sama spent his dying moments trying to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up. You're just going to roll over and accept your fate. If you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazama to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Oh, is that? Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir.
Nein.
Yeah, yes. What can I do for you? Schick, sexy. Steht dir. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. So you are new Gumshoe, are you? Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that you should be... I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. Oder Shadow, möchtest du ihn übernehmen?
Och ja, oh.
Sag mal was zu tun hier, bevor ich jetzt ja. 3 Leuten...
Ganz ehrlich, ich bin fast eingeschlafen. Ich habe einfach das Auge zu. Oder so.
Schöne Geschichte, hi.
Ja. So, Moment, ich muss erstmal hier kurz. So. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask.
I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Thank you for your answer.
Ja, dann sag halt eben nichts, da krieg ich nichts zu tun. Okay. I'm so sorry.
Classified information.
This is all my fault. I take full responsibility.
He did it! Kill him!
I killed this guy.
For what?
My orders were to act as Asuki-san's bodyguard.
Yeah, you fucked that up.
It was a Minister of Justice, Chikoku,
Mhm.
Chikoku, who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Azuki-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
Assassinated? How could that even be a possibility?
I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Chikoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities.
This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazama-sama was assassinated?
Obviously, we couldn't give Azuki-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day.
Ugh.
But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here and the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asuki-san is dead as a result. I am a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize.
Inspector.
So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word.
Bird. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazama's death ourselves.
I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer.
Of course not.
Well, just asking.
We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two.
I suppose. I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well.
Wow. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive.
What do you mean?
If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to.
But I don't see how.
Dann nicht.
There may be a way. What, really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabinet, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. The Speckled Band?
Es wäre super, wenn der Captain einfach aussieht wie der Chef vom Space Center aus dem 5. Teil.
Oh Gott.
Da hieß ja auch noch Yuri.
Oh Gott. Achso.
What's that?
It's Kazama's diary. Just before he died, Kazama-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary.
Strange? In what way?
He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speculate band? That is strange.
Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is...
Don't tell me, the ventilator, is it?
You're very astute, Inspector.
That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was.
Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though.
But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders?
I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Azuki-san safe. This is the least I can do. The last I can do.
It's das Letzte, was ich tue. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave the cabin at last. Move. Alright. I like to move it. Let's see what we can find out.
Can I just use my feet?
No, we have to use a button.
This is a stupid universe we live in.
First and foremost, we must get out of this cabin. Oh. Eine Mausefalle.
Merry belated Christmas.
9th of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Buria, first class cabin passageway. Whew, I'm finally out of that cabin. For 2 weeks. First time in 2 weeks. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazama-sama was being sent on his study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh. Oh, look over there! That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down.
And he's manspreading.
Ich dachte auch gerade, meine Güte. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose... like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is... I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard.
That sounds wrong.
And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Let's talk to that Russian crewman, da?
Da! Ich werde die Stimme niemals hinkriegen, die ich im Kopf habe, aber gut.
Excuse me, but could I ask you something?
You little stowaway murderer.
That wasn't a good start, oh, that wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
You little first-class lady's maid.
Oh! We seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Sasato-san.
I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman Beef Stroganoff.
Oh nein!
Wow.
Nein!
So, Biff. Da, gutes Reinigungsmittel. Zufällig einen älteren Wissenschaftler gesehen mit einem Jungen mit einer Schwimmweste? Nur Mann in komischem Mantel. Oh Mann.
Oh, ich hab Hunger.
Ja, ich auch.
Dude, best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area.
Here we are in finest part of Buria steamship for very important persons.
What sort of very important persons? VIPs.
Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place.
Gosh, that's amazing.
But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside.
Sorry.
I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal.
Glad to hear that. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Da!
Das ist sogar mit einem richtigen D, also mit einem kyrillischen D geschrieben, nicht wieder vorhin.
Ja.
Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius.
Es gibt eine Möglichkeit, wie wir rauskriegen, ob wir da rein dürfen, ohne dass wir wissen müssen, was die Bedeutung des Wortes ist.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Ah. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in... Oh, wait. Whoops. It sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Sogis? No? Okay.
His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman.
Ich versuche, die Anspielung rauszuerkennen. Grimsby Roylott.
Vielleicht, dass es was mit broiled ist, weil hier haben wir ja offensichtlich ein Essensthema.
Oder was mit Roylette?
Grimsby Roylott.
Grimsby Roylott, weil broiled.
Vielleicht, wenn wir den Typen sehen, wissen wir es dann.
Kann man ja später nochmal im Wiki nachlesen, was man dabei rauskriegt.
A Western gentleman.
Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy.
How can you be so sure about that?
Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from the insignificant Far East Islands.
That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business.
In Shanghai? Come to think of it. Even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins. He must be rather important. Is that right?
That is not your business.
Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff?
All time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
Calculating. It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual?
Niet!
Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way?
I said no!
Sorry! I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there.
This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh.
It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin.
Yes, alright.
Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly.
When the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Wie geil.
Wenn der Hummer auf den Berg pfeift.
Yes, I understand. You English or Essen? English say? English say, yeah. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Look around, look around. Achso. Never mind. Nein, falscher Knopf. So, was ist das? This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. I don't know what nationality is the ship. It shows each deck. Look. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. Is it? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Menu? That book on top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a look through it? It's all Russian. The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagined the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far.
No. I would definitely shoot him with fist.
No, I started with with my talk of... I started with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Kann ich mich setzen? Nein, ich kann mich nicht setzen. Na gut. B. Feueralarm. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to... What are you doing, Naruto-san? You mustn't touch it. But this isn't an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything could just stop, the ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else.
Fass doch mal in die Mausefalle.
Ja, gute Idee. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it is called. Cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese. I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... Oh, I suppose you're right. But I really want that cheese. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazama-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Clap, clap. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman.
Wahrscheinlich eher Sherlock. Stand aside! I'm about to break the door down.
Mr. Sholmes!
I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't. Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick?
Not me. I think we should go in, and there's no time to think about stress relief. Barging in. First class, cabin number 2. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now!
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Rylet, I believe.
Yes, that's me. And you are...
I am the one and only, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt.
No.
I am a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely.
The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective. I do not trust detectives.
We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case?
Really? That small one? What? Don't be stupid! How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk.
Such's lieber mit der Tasche da auf der rechten Seite, Junge. Don't look at me. Hm? Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruto-san? Yes. The case just shook. It just shooketh. Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward. Oh, this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Rylet. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Was tust du da?
I'm chilling.
Get out!
No!
What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin. Get out! Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No! What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Come on, get out of the closet.
No!
Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes?
You need only address me as Sholmes.
That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting.
Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting.
Are you pining for the fjords?
Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service.
Oh!
And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
No, it's fine. Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once.
Observe closely.
The dance of deduction.
Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what it is most effective? What is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Vodka? Why? The truth, of course. Alkohol lockert die Zunge, also Vodka. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians.
Right.
Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Yes, please.
Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Yay! Oh, yes, please.
Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case.
Good thing I'm the great ace attorney.
Do not be ridiculous, there's nothing great about you. You're in handcuffs.
And you're tiny.
Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you?
What?
From time to time, it occurs to me, is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness?
Both. I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh! I must have complete silence.
What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that?
Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now.
Hmm?
There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions.
What? What do you mean?
Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Ugh. Oh, Naruto-san, I never imagined I would witness some of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What ineffable dwaddle? Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And now, I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true.
War das gerade eine Elfina-Referenz?
Oh yeah, listen. I can hardly believe it, but all the colors has drained from Mr. Ryder's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. Ow. How could you?
How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. Yes, that's what you just said. The game is afoot! Topic 1. Old man's identity. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously, what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Revolutionary run. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case! It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse.
What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, and slight enough to fit therein.
Ja, sicher. Don't be absurd.
And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow our furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Dafür, dass sagt, man kann sich russische Namen schlecht merken, hat er sich aber sehr gut gemerkt.
Nee, das war auch Jonoska.
Oh. My bad. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky!
Elemensky. Amazing. Everything you just said was wrong. Susato-san. That wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here a moment? He has legs.
Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about your deductions. Would you mind?
Not at all. Go on.
What complete and utter bullshit. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other.
Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. And at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roddick does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina.
Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly! You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard.
Trust me, I tried!
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15.
No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lithersness in their bodies.
Vinegar?
For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Contortionist wäre auch der Einzige, der vielleicht machen könnte.
Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a... You're not the clown, you're the whole circus!
The line which he never said.
This whole thing is turning into a circus. Naruto-san, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Susato-san.
Ich glaube, das mit den Anreden, das ist tatsächlich so, wenn halt Briten oder halt Leute aus anderen Nationalitäten anwesend sind, dann benutzen sie halt Mister. Wenn sie aber jetzt die Japaner unter sich sind, dann nehmen sie San. Und alles. Also die japanischen Honorifics.
Als Indikation dafür, wann sie Japanisch miteinander reden und wann Englisch.
Genau.
It's just one of or two keywords in his deduction that seem to let him down. So I was wondering. Aber sie reden gerade mit sich selbst. sie badmouthen ihn. Warum wollen sie, dass er sie hört? So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that. I feel sure if we do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction.
Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind.
This man is a lot of work.
At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me.
It's not that funny.
And you, my good fellow?
Sorry.
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists? Oh, thanks. But where are your handcuffs? And where's my blue thingy? Huh? How did...
I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction.
I don't believe it! Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel!
Riech mal. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished.
Oh, please don't. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin.
Let's dance.
Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic number 1, Old Man's Identity. Yes.
So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a keyword here, Naruto-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruto-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? His nose!
Like die Zeitung. His golden locks.
What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how is it growing from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. But it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here. Oh, was I? I'm sorry. Take that.
Yes!
Sexy. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Bei ihm sieht das viel sexier aus.
Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose.
But you didn't get the words right, what?
Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man.
Oh. You're not a man at all, you're a woman, and judging from the length of and sheen of your hair...
One still very much in her youth.
Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. Huh.
The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about a revolutionary.
Das gleich du. Versteh ich. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room and deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly come dancing. Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Was für eine Art von Tanz?
Strictly come dancing. Lustigerweise heißt die britische Version von Let's Dance or Dance with the Stars heißt sogar Strictly Come Dancing.
Okay.
Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Royd is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather, she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina.
That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name.
Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina.
Miss Nikolina Pavlova.
Thank you for saying this because I didn't remember the name. Aber wo kommt die falsche Nase her? You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Conclusion. A ballerina on the run. Solved. Topic 2. Wrongdoing.
Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Yes, dieses Wort.
Eloquently.
The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case.
Huh? This woman is the ballerina and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case? What is in the case? What is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? Ah, I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruto-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Holmes? Stop it! So unterschippt die auch schon. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to.
Denk mal, du kannst doch um den Raum rumgucken.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara.
I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth of 20,000 rubles. In summary,
The crime you have committed is theft. Oh no!
yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you.
I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, what do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now.
Come, let us not be hasty.
She's willing to confess. No, I'm still my deduction. What?
There remains one unsolved mystery about you.
Mystery? What do you mean?
You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case even before I have ever laid eyes on them.
You thought there was a girl in it.
Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. My French. Once again, we need only follow our furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf.
Was? He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all of this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true. But still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. And there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area. If that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. There's only one answer. That's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. There's a dog in it or something. Nein, ich habe falsch gedrückt.
Oh, Schneck.
These are the rules of passage for the traveler. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There was exactly the same notice in our cabin too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure that punishment would be severe, Naruto-san. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So, I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I?
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents.
As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord.
Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage?
A pet! Conclusion, possession of a prohibited animal. Solved.
Synchronvorlesen sollten wir nur sehr selten machen. Ich hoffe.
Deduction complete. Elementary.
My dear Wilson.
My name's Naruhodo. Kommt hier hoffentlich noch einmal pro Fall vor, dass sie das machen müssen. So, clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not, Grimsby Roilet. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. Die Ermittlungen werden immer verrückter. Sie werden actionreicher. Oder so eine Art geführter eigentlich. Mehr Gameplay, Fragezeichen, Elemente. Elementary, haha.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland.
Shadow Shield.
Da hat jetzt nicht viel zu tun, leider.
Nein.
Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Vielleicht kannst du ihm ja Region ausgegeben.
Ich glaube, das hat es. Der Part gleich ist hoffentlich zu Ende. Das heißt, wir können wieder mit mehr russischen Leuten reden oder so. Oder mit unserem Dingens. Inspector Hosonaga. Streckt sich echt. Which couldn't have been easy. The Buria is a huge steamship with a vast crew. really have snuck on board without being noticed?
In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair.
Nice.
Yet, to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone.
So, if it was you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin?
That veritable tinkling of a bell? Well, none other than this young lady, naturally.
And why? More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to... How do you say? Disgust myself? Very good. So no one would recognize me. Niemand korrigiert sie, dass es Disguise heißt. Schön. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and...
At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time.
Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What's in the box? What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? Only when the writer demands it. How convenient. You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew.
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return,
Das ist arme Viech aus dem Ding
you
raus.
must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night.
Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes great... Jetzt hab ich... Nein! Ich wollte einen anderen Akzent machen. Wasn't it something, Mr. Holmes' great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. And that's incredible.
Indeed, it is incredible!
Stop barging in on our conversations.
Ah, and one more thing.
Yes, what?
Observe your wrists.
Aww. My... Your hands are cuffed again! What? But how? When?
True to my word, I have restored your shackles.
Ah. When and why? There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled bandit that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. Let me see. Don't touch! Huh? I will tell you what I know about last night, but please. You must not touch my things. What do you say? I forbid it. Oh, sorry.
As well you should be, young man. What vulgar manners you have.
Hey.
Walking around in a young lady's private belongings? Neither shall I allow it.
Ah, hypocrite. Fein, dann nicht. Reden wir halt. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh! That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Or perhaps people talking.
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest? Perhaps its steam engine exploded?
We would have noticed that.
Are you sure?
Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed. Yeah, perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. Well, you've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain and from there I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. Hättest du dann nicht eher ein anderes Schiff boarden sollen, das über den Pazifik fährt und nicht...
Eigentlich schon, ja.
You're taking the long way.
Na, müssen wir ja trotzdem erstmal nach Britannien, ne? Erstmal Zwischenstopp. Vielleicht ein bisschen Englisch lernen. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. Aber du hast dir wenigstens ein Ticket in der ersten Klasse gönnen können. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water. And we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. Ach so, du hast es ihnen erklärt. They let me on board and they said I could hide in this cabin.
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but...
Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Buria stopped by no port last night.
Oh, wann waren sie denn in Shanghai? Ah, that's it, of course!
So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. Yeah, we just saw that. Hey, Shadow! Ah, ne, warte. Das war gleich wieder. It's none of your business.
Yeah, that is not your business.
Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? It is how the Russian newspapers describe one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself? A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, in fact.
Yes, yes, Mr. Showy. Show off. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Sehr schön, Ju, sehr schön. Die Dame hat eine etwas komische Geschichte. Da. Das ist eigentlich fast schon nachvollziehbar. Bis auf, wie es aufs Schiff gekommen ist. Der ist auf den Kopf geschlagen. Sholmes könnte auch jener sein, dessen Denkrübe angeschlagen ist. Ja. Ja. Bestimmt nicht der echte Sherlock Holmes. Oder Sherlock Holmes. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh please, don't tell! Don't tell any of the crew! If they found my precious...
Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt.
So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Mm-mm. Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Mm-mm.
Ha! You credit Russia as a land of small rabbits, do you?
Eh? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then?
You may well ask. I have no idea.
Great.
You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken!
Was ist falsch mit dir?
Yes? Maybe a little AK-47?
Really?
Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance.
Chicken attack! Yeah, you know. So you ate your friends, I'll remember that.
Dieser Satz wird Konsequenzen haben.
Mm-mm.
Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed.
She obviously doesn't quite trust you yet. Us. But you especially not. There's something I should like to show. Was? There's something I should like to show her, I think.
An old saying?
Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Okay. Was eigentlich hier denn? Was hab ich denn Schönes? Hier, mein Anwaltsmarke.
Try it.
Da sieht man nichts.
Oder das Tagebuch von Kazuma, weil er das Pfeifen gehört hat.
Hm.
Das ist eine Taufe, das ist auch nicht schlecht.
This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh. Dann nicht. Klopf, klopf, wer ist da?
Drogenfahndung, machen Sie auf!
Excuse me, Mr. Roylott.
The fuck? Yes, what? Wow, she's fast.
Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please.
Warum hat sie die Schere wieder in der Hand? Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave now. Oh no, it's fine. I don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out!
The passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out?
Oh, it looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued.
Ja, wird Zeit für das Abendessen.
Ja, meine Güte. Ein Teil 3 Stunden dauert, ne?
Mhm. Das hätten wir gestern niemals geschafft.
Nicht bis 17 Uhr.
Aber
meine Maus.
Ich glaube nicht mal, dass wir einen Teil schaffen.
Meine Maus ist ausgegangen.
Also ich bin schon die ganze Zeit am Essen, ne? Hallo, ich bin auch noch da.
Hi.
Schön, dass du noch da bist.
Ja.
Und nicht schnarchst.
Ach, naja, ist wie aber dann kein Romper, ne? Ich bin einfach dabei. Rollenverteilung ist das so. Ich werde gerade nicht gebraucht.
Man weiß es halt nicht am Anfang.
Irgendwann kommt ja noch die Gerichtsverhandlung und dann.
Dann wirst du immer gebraucht.
Ja, dann habe ich alle gefühlt.
Ja! Die Verteilung ist Ich jetzt bitte wieder, danke.
Ich habe schon Angst bei meinem Phoenix Wright Run. Weil da spreche ich ja Phoenix, den Richter und dann kommt da noch Kantenwert dazu. Ich denke mir so, ja, ich glaube, irgendwas ist nur umverteilen.
Ach, ich habe 1 bis 4 ja auch allein gesprochen. Das geht. Nur nicht sehr lang. Besonders wenn man Gamschuh spricht.
Ja, vor allem, wenn man Gamschuh spricht.
Ah, der kommt ja noch.
Hey, Pal! Aber der ist ja immer nur am Anfang von der Gerichtsverhandlung.
Ja, aber beim Investigaten ist er halt.
Und beim Investigaten, ja. Aber Investigaten schafft man eigentlich immer an einem Stück. Aber nicht mehr.
Ja, wenn man ungefähr weiß, wonach man sucht und was man machen muss, dann geht Investigaten schnell.
Das stimmt. Hey, Buddy. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I feel ashamed. Safe. 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 Okay. Ich habe gesaved. Yes. Oh, cool. Es ist immer der Hintergrund, wo wir gerade sind. Interessant.
Sehr nice.
Dann bedanke ich mich ganz herzlich für heute fürs Mitmachen und fürs Zuschauen. Esst alles schön was Leckeres zu Abend.
Ja, bin schon fertig.
Ich werde mal gucken, ob ich irgendwo Pommes herkriege.
Oder Beef Stroganoff.
Das wär's.
Wann habt ihr Lust weiterzumachen?
Also ich bin jetzt übers Wochenende nicht da und komme erst irgendwann am Montag wieder.
Okay. Dann können wir Montag anpeilen. Da.
Da weiß ich nicht, ob ich da, also wie
So.
früh ich da wiederkomme, das ist halt die Sache.
Okay. Und Sie denn? War wunderbar. Juhu, das freut mich. Dankeschön, Dankeschön. Und ein bisschen Entertainment während des Sports. Jo, gut. Dann sehen wir uns die nächste Woche wieder. Oder vielleicht in einem... Ja, ich muss ein Ding jetzt machen, ne? Entweder in einem Japan-Stream oder in einem anderen Spiel noch am Wochenende. Mal gucken. Yes. Da. Na dann. Habt noch einen schönen Start ins Wochenende. Bye bye.
Gleichfalls.
So, ihr lieben Kinderlein, es ist schon spät. Doch bevor es für euch ins Bettchen geht, ratet mal, wer da vor eurem Fenster steht. Draußen im Dunkeln, wo ihr ihn nicht seht, just sobald ihr eure Äugelein zugemacht, es ist glatzmatz, hässlich wie die Nacht. Glatzmatz, hässlich wie die Nacht. Schließt schnell die Äugelein, dann kommt er sogleich. Spitzt eure Ohren, lauscht jedem Geräusch, dann hört ihr ihn atmen, vielleicht auch ein Schaben, fast lautlos das Kratzen an dem Fensterrahmen. Das kommt von der Harke, die er mitgebracht. Es ist glatzmatz, hässlich wie die Nacht. Jetzt alle glatzmatz, hässlich wie die Nacht. Und nochmal glatzmatz, hässlich wie die Nacht. Glatzmatz, hässlich wie